Uhuru in court battle. Now, this is referring, of course, to businessman Harun Mwau questioning the legality of the October 26th election, saying that fresh nominations were not carried out. There's quite a number of things that he has cited in that particular petition. One of those, or one of the main ones, being the fact that no fresh nominations were carried out. There's also human rights activist Alan File case asking the amendments of claiming it was, well, riddled with violence. He's also, in his petition, put the fact that there was a minimum amount of 200,000 shillings that was supposed to be paid by all presidential candidates that was not paid.
Yes, certainly so. And looking back, Harun Mwau had initially gone to the High Court and he filed a petition seeking to stop the rerun of the presidential elections. And most of the grounds that he points out are some of the issues that we dealt with, some of the issues that we discussed on this set, and they're basically procedural. The moment the Supreme Court declared that the elections have been nullified, there ought to be fresh presidential elections. The gist of Harun Mwau's argument is that, one, there ought to have been a fresh nomination of presidential candidates, and that is guided by the Elections Act, whereby a candidate is proposed by a political party, there's payment of a nomination fees, and there is presentation of a nomination form certificate to IEBC. That did not happen. And secondly, there's also the issue of gazettement of presidential candidates. Harun Mwau contends that this did not happen at least 21 days before the election, because IEBC was in kind of a flip-flop situation, because they first gazetted the name of the two candidates, and thereafter, after the court ruling, they added some other candidates. But tied to that also, there's the issue of the candidate Silas Jirongo. This is a candidate who had been declared bankrupt by the High Court at that time, and thereafter, IEBC issued a gazette notice rendering him disqualified from contesting. But then later on, in anticipation of the ruling of the High Court, later on, IEBC authorized the printing of ballot papers with this candidate's name on the ballot papers, while still the gazette notice which disqualified him was still in force. So those are issues that the Supreme Court will have to contend with.
They'll have to contend, and of course we'll see how that's going to pan out. There's some valid reasons there, but again, of course, we will wait for the High Court. But it's also the same story running on the Star. If we can just briefly look at the Star before we now come back to what's in the newspapers inside. But Uhuru faces more